What's up, guys? Today on Sports Central, we're going to be going over a college football game preview, and this one's going to be over North Carolina and Temple in the 2019 Military Bowl. Should be an interesting one here. Of course, North Carolina has had a pretty good year considering they've been pretty terrible the last couple of years, ever since Mitch Trubisky left the program. But yeah, with Mack Brown now this year, this team has looked really rejuvenated, and it'd be a great win for them to finish off the year against Temple, but Temple, I'm sure, won't make it easy. Previous game for both these teams, North Carolina beat NC State 41-10, and then Temple beat UConn 49-17. Some key stats from this one: UNC had Howell, he's their quarterback, or one of their main quarterbacks, 23-33, 401 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And then for Temple, Mack is their main running back with 5 receptions. Or actually, no, he's their wide receiver. That's my bad. 5 receptions, 171 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He had a very good game there against UConn. The game's going to be on Friday, December 27th at noon Eastern Time in Annapolis, Maryland. The spread currently says North Carolina by 5, or the ESPN FPI is also saying North Carolina 70%, and then Vegas is saying North Carolina by 9, 34-25. So this doesn't really surprise me all that much. I mean, Temple and North Carolina, I feel like both these teams are pretty even. North Carolina is just in the better conference, so that's kind of the big exception there as to why the spread is acting towards North Carolina right now. But yeah, nonetheless, here's your stack comparison for this one as well. Points per game from North Carolina, 31.3. They allow 24.6 points per game. They get 285 pass yards per game, 184 rush yards. Then they allow 232 pass yards and 149 rush yards per game. So overall, kind of looking at that, I mean, it seems as if they're more split up between a pass and a rushing team. They use it pretty balanced, and that's kind of exactly how Temple is, with 259 pass yards per game and 142 rush yards. But yeah, Temple gets 27.4 points per game, along with they allow 23.5 points per game as well. North Carolina is 6-6 coming into this one. Temple is 8-4. So overall, I mean, considering Temple's in a worse conference than North Carolina is, it does seem as if both these teams are pretty even here in this one. Your previous 5 games for both these teams as well. North Carolina, once again, they beat NC State. They beat up Mercer second to last week of the regular season, 56-7. And I mean, you need to expect to beat a team like Mercer like that, so that's good for them. They lost to Pittsburgh on the road, 27-34. That was in overtime, so that was a brutal loss. They lost to Virginia, who obviously was the division champs in the end game. They lost 31-38, and then they beat Duke as well on October 26th, 20-17. Now looking at Temple, once again they beat UConn. But they did have a close loss to Cincinnati. They played pretty well in that one, but considering, I mean, I don't think Cincinnati's as good as everyone thinks they are, to be honest with you. So I mean, 13-15 loss. If you could have won that game, that would have certainly been a quality win for this Temple team. But yeah, you beat Tulane as well by 8, 29-21. Beat South Florida 17-7. Then lost to UCF in a banger, 63-21. That is a brutal loss, and you can't take losses like that. I mean, thankfully it did not screw up any of their momentum. They were able to win the next 2 games, or didn't also win the next 3 of the last 4, but yeah, still for both these teams, they did have 2 losses in their last 5 games. As well as this, few key points, North Carolina has had an excellent year. I mean, comparing to like the previous 2 years, once again, this has been considerably a much improved year for North Carolina, and I think the future is very bright with Mack Brown. But who knows how long Mack Brown's going to still be able to coach. But while he's at North Carolina, I'm sure he's going to do great. Temple has had ups and downs. I mean, North Carolina has too as well. But yeah, once again, both teams are 3-2 in their previous 5 games. But how impactful is this game? I feel like it is a pretty important game for both teams. I mean, for Temple, of course, they've been a pretty bumpy program over the last few years. They've been considerably good. I mean, especially there was a couple years ago where Temple was like possibly going to be the main team out of the Group of 5 conferences to possibly go on to, I believe it was the Cotton Bowl that year. Yeah, I mean, Temple, yeah. This would be a huge win for them to cap off the year. I mean, it's been a pretty good one for them. Same for North Carolina. If you could get a win here, this would really help the recruiting, I'm sure. And it would also help lead North Carolina to possibly an ACC Division Championship next year. Who knows? We'll have to see. But yeah, North Carolina, honestly, could be a sleeper for next year. If Mack Brown is able to do as well next year as he did this year, this could be a scary North Carolina team. But yeah, how would both teams win? I think if North Carolina gets off to a fast start, they get probably 2 to 3 touchdowns right off the bat, and they get a big lead over Temple. I think this game is pretty sold to them. But if Temple gets off to a pretty fast lead, I would not mark North Carolina out of it. But yeah, for Temple, you do want to get up to a fast start. You do not want to let North Carolina get away from you by any means. That would be really terrible for this Temple team. But here's what I expect to happen. I think halftime score 21-14 North Carolina. And then in the second half, it's going to be a little bit slower, only 17 points scored overall. But your final score is going to be 31-21. North Carolina wins it here by 10. I think North Carolina all around is the better team. I mean, once again, they are pretty even. But North Carolina overall, I think, is the better team. They've got the better recruitments. They've got the better players overall. So yeah, 31-21, your final score for North Carolina. And overall, I mean, both teams have about the same amount of momentum, considering they both went 3-2 in their previous 5 games. But overall, once again, North Carolina with Mack Brown. Mack Brown's going to do a great job of motivating this team to beat Temple. And I mean, this North Carolina team is going to be motivated to win this bowl game. I mean, I don't think they've been to a bowl game in a couple years now. So yeah, this would be a big year. This would be a big game for North Carolina, and it'd be a huge win if they can get it done here against Temple. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts on this. Give me comments below. Do you think Temple can pull the upset? Let me know your guys' score predictions as well. Let me know who you guys think is going to win this one. Should be an interesting one for sure. The 2019 Military Bowl. Be sure to stay tuned for more bowl previews coming up over the next couple of weeks. Actually, it's going to be more of a week now. We're starting to get towards we're about halfway through with our bowl predictions. So yeah, but we're going to be grinding out probably 4 to 5 a day for the next 3 or 4 days. So yeah, stay tuned for those. Thank you guys all for watching once again, and stay tuned for more from All Sports Central.